If you want others to take care of your lives, protect you, save you, then you will always be slaves. And rightfully so.
Hi everyone. If you are watching this, I am assuming that you follow Farsight's activities, and also that you have watched at least some of our other remote viewing documentaries, including The Annihilation of the Dinosaurs. I am also assuming that you are aware that we at Farsight have long since stopped trying to answer the question of whether or not extraterrestrials exist. Rather, we are trying to use remote viewing to understand the complexity of extraterrestrial life that exists out there, and especially extraterrestrial life that interacts with Earth and humanity, both past and present.
It's much more angular than the other places that we were looking at earlier. It's just, this place is pretty angular. It's it's just sort of hexagony, octagony type of translucent type of thing. And over here, it looks like, I want to say it looks like Earth, but it's just a spherical planet-looking type of thing. And it's far away, and he's just looking at it. And this seems like the biological at the top that's responsible for all that horribleness that we were just looking at the bottom.
Well, this remote viewing documentary that you are watching now is about one specific group of extraterrestrials that have been and remain very heavily involved in the long-term exploitation of humanity, the Reptilians. What you're about to see are remote viewing data that specifically target reptilians operating here on Earth. You are about to see what the reptilians do here, where they are located, why they are here, and how they treat Earth humans.
And obsessing this subject glows, like it's either there's a emitting glowing in the non-surface structure, or there is a bright light that is glowing around this non-surface structure, or the subject is glowing. One of the subjects are glowing on their own. I see purple eyes and a very orange hue. The temperature is very warm. Their skin is dry and rough and scaly.
Obviously, the reptilians are an extraterrestrial species that is causing lots of problems for humanity, both currently and in the past. They are a very aggressive species, and they are very sensitive. They react quickly to perceived threats. They shoot first and ask questions later, whenever they think their interests are under threat.
There's still those weird, non-human subjects that are guarding this place and watching it and doing different observations and tests on these subjects.
So you may say that controlling humans secretly by manipulating human leadership behind the scenes is unethical, and it is. But that is exactly what human societies do to each other. We control other countries by manipulating their leadership. It is very expensive for one country to invade another. It's much easier and cheaper for one nation to manipulate the leadership of another nation, such that the manipulated nation does what is desired all by themselves. The best manipulation is one in which those who are being manipulated don't even know that they're being manipulated. Notable examples of this very common practice is how the United States helped to install and support the Shah of Iran, or President Mobutu Sese Seko of Zaire, now the Congo. Somoza Garcia of Nicaragua is another example, and the list goes on and on.
And over here, and she doesn't look happy. The previous pictures I drew of sort of a gentle, smiling female face, not what's going on anymore. This is not the situation that I'm looking at right now. She is sort of tied up, and there's these really, it's weird talking about this. There's this really weird tubes. There's two of them.
Humanity needs to disengage from the reptilians. Moreover, we need to recognize that the reptilians have huge military and technological advantages over Earth humans. We are going to need help in disengaging from the reptilians. We cannot simply beam love at the reptilians and expect them to change. That's like going up to a thug and telling him that you love him. The only thing that will happen is that he will rob you, or worse. We have to break free, and we will need allies in order to do that. At least in the short term, we will need outside military assistance.
There's these kind of, it looks more like I don't know how to describe it, just like a bunch of tubes or a bunch of long things connected to these subjects. And they all feel like they're all connected to this, and the subjects feel like they're emotionally like brain dead, but it feels like they're kind of stuck and dying, but not dying, like to the brink of death.
It's like he's telling me, he's almost begging me to not go in. He's placed his forehead onto mine. It's not on, it's like directly in front of me. It's directly in front of my head, and I can hear his voice telepathically, and there's this bright light. There's this bright light. I feel like crying. It's just overwhelming. This being is breaking himself, deteriorating himself to keep me out of this room. It's like he's decomposing because of me, to stop me from going in there.
Not like their actual eyes, but like sunglasses looking things over their eyes. Not a very, like no expression on their face. And besides this like part in the middle, which looks pretty white, everywhere else is just black, like black suit jacket type of looking thing, the black pants, black shoes, everything, black.
You're about to understand for the first time why the secrecy agenda is so important to the reptilians. They are doing stuff, lots of stuff that they think is really important for their own future. And they definitely know that humanity would be outraged if there was widespread awareness of what the reptilians are doing.
To run and jump in, and it pushes me out. And I run and jump in, and it's pushing me out. And I run and I jump in, and it's a battle. Forceful thing is just, I see this, and it's just like clips.
If we continue to bury our heads in the sand and pretend that the problem does not exist, then there is no hope for humanity. Freedom begins with understanding, and understanding begins with the end of secrecy. Controlling what you know leads to slavery. Breaking that information deadlock ends slavery. Every colonizer wants to prevent those who are colonized from protesting the colonization. Protests inevitably lead to struggles for independence. It is inevitable. Preventing those protests is what the secrecy agenda is all about. Remember how the slavers in the American past tried so hard to prevent their slaves of African heritage from learning how to read? Controlling what people know is the key to control. It is the key. So every time that you see someone in the major media ridicule someone who seriously talks about UFOs or extraterrestrials or even remote viewing, you know what is happening. It is all part of the effort to control what you know. Every single media personality in the mainstream media who participates in this process of ridicule is directly assisting the efforts to control what you know, and thus they are directly participating, knowingly or unknowingly, in your own enslavement. Remember what the famed physicist Stephen Hawking once said, "As I grow older, I am more convinced than ever that we are not alone." But remember that he also said, "If so, they will be vastly more powerful and may not see us as any more valuable than we see bacteria."